The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly. You know, we love that quote, Tadhg, and I think this next guest kind of has a lot to do with that. Big football fan. Obviously, entered the arena. We're deep into the series now. We're really getting into the thick of things. How do you think it is going so far?
Oh, brilliant. I mean, like most things at the beginning, we don't really know what direction it's going to go, but between yourself and the lads, it's come together quite well. MURR Media putting it all together. Yeah, I think it's giving people an insight into who the lads are so far that have spoken, but then also kind of what it takes to be operating at the lead end of sports. And it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's ups and downs, you know? No,
exactly. And in reality, lead end of sport, like I think people kind of gloss over kind of kicking and punting sometimes, thinking like, you know, maybe just a natural ability type of thing or whatever. But, you know, it's physical as much as it's mental, as much as it's spiritual, as much as it's luck to kind of get into the arena. And I think, you know, Charlie Smyth is one of those guys who kind of emphasizes that in kind of a lot of aspects of his game and his career so far, because he's very young. So do you have any little bit of intro, any bit of insight you can kind of give us, a little snippet that people are going to keep listening past the intro music?
No, Charlie's just a good example of a lad that kind of randomly, I'm sure we get into, he stumbled into this, but very quickly, they caught my eye instantly. Like instantly was like, this lad has something. And then thankfully it turned out he was actually a huge fan of the game. I had no clue he was a Gaelic footballer, let alone, you know, an Ulster Under-20 Player of the Year. So the more I learned about him, the more I was like, wait a second, like this is a man that's been in the arena, he has performed, and now he's about to go down like a phenomenal path. So no, massively excited for him. His family have been class. He's really just done everything right, the right attitude, and gone about it well. So he recognises what he has in front of him, but he understands, you know, the baby steps you need to take each day to take advantage of the big shot.
He is a former Ulster Player of the Year, Under-20s. He is a massive Green Bay Packer fan. He hails from Down, and today we are welcomed by the presence of Charlie Smyth. Charlie, how are things?
Yeah, all good. Good to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Again, this is Enter the Arena, presented by Leader Kicking Podcast. Charlie Smyth here is one of the few players selected through the International Pathway Programme to go to Indianapolis in March to perform the NFL Combine. A massive opportunity for anyone, let alone someone from Ireland. This is kind of the first time it's happened that this pathway has opened up. I kind of want to start there because it is kind of, I guess, the most unique and exciting thing. So how are you kind of feeling now? We're kind of we're in the new year. We're in 2024. You're going to be heading out to Florida soon to train and begin that process. So how are the nerves right now, Charlie?
Well, just to start off with, like, I've watched the NFL Combine like every year has past 6-7 years, and like just the thought of actually getting to go to Indianapolis to actually compete in it is just unbelievable. And I really can't wait. And but to be honest, like, we have to realise too that, you know, we're here because, you know, we've earned the right to be here, and and it's just really about thinking about it that way. You know, we're here for a reason, and I just can't wait to get going now. And
you have, I mean, you've kind of you know, you've wrung your cloth there. You've put through, you've been put through a lot of tests, and you've been gone through a lot of trainings, and you've earned your way here. You know, both through Gaelic football, your ability there, your natural ability, the amount of training you've done, and then obviously through leader kicking. So before I ask you what your 40 is or how many times you can bench 225, and we'll get into that because you're a fan of the Combine, so we'll definitely talk about that. So how did you find actually Tadhg and leader kicking?
So I've followed Tadhg on social media this past couple of years, basically mainly through Twitter. Yep. And I've always sort of just, you know, watching and thinking, oh, it's actually here now in Ireland. Like, you know, I should really give this a go. And I sort of put it off for football, you know, this past couple of years.
And you mean there, just want to pause right there. So you mean it's actually here now in Ireland? Yeah. So where was it previously?
Well, it wasn't really. It wasn't here at all. You know, so like me watching Red Zone, you know, on Sundays this past, you know, 8-9 years, and you know, watching the lads, the kickers kick, and I'm thinking that, you know, I feel like I could do that, but like it was not really something that you were, like, it was a dream to do. It was just because it was so unrealistic, because there was no pathway. But then now that it's American football is actually here in Ireland, it's it's just class. And I was like, you know what, let's give this a go. And eventually bit the bullet this year, and I went for it. And now I'm here, and I'm going through something that I never would have thought would have been even possible. So it's just really all about making the most of it now, you know, and really, you know, grasping that opportunity.
Yeah. And I mean, I can kind of relate to your story there, like the fact that it wasn't there. So my pathway was a little bit different. I didn't have the international pathway. I didn't have leader kicking at the time. Neither did Tadhg actually at the time. So what we had to do was kind of make our own way there. I kind of similar to you. I remember watching Red Zone a couple of times, and he went to a couple of college games. And it was when I kind of saw it live that I realised I was like, oh, I could definitely do this. Because we're so used to it from football. You know, my background is more in rugby, but I played GA as a kid, going up the whole way all the way to about 15, and like putting a ball in between sticks up in the air felt totally natural, you know. And on top of that, everything's pretty much straight down the middle in terms of hash marks. So we had to kind of go over there. We had to kind of go through our own path, find open tryouts somewhere in the States, you know, and then kind of like find our way there. But as you said, you found Tadhg on Twitter, you found his pathway program. So then what's the next step then once you actually see him and you realise, like, hang on a second here now, I've been watching these guys do it. I know I can do it. I'm, you know, Ulster U-20 player of the year. Like this could be walking the park, is it?
Well, it was really, you're like, whenever I said, you know, I'm going to do this, you're kind of walking into the unknown. And I actually remember going the first time I went to, it was a place in South Dublin. And the actual kicking event that night was in North Dublin. So I actually turned up to the session. And then you actually had your first 6 kicks. And I had...
And was this Ireland's Kicking King? Or
Ireland's Kicking King, yes.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah, and so I went to the event that was supposed to be on the next night. So just, you know, I was a bit stupid of myself. Like, but then I turned up in the competition started. I was like, oh God, I have no warm-up here.
So you got there late?
Yeah, I'd
you
turned
went
up
to the wrong place.
Yeah, I went to the wrong place inside. So I actually went back on myself.
Okay,
and,
good start.
Yeah, good start, yeah. But I turned up then to the place in North Dublin then, I think it was beside Malahide, and I was my first 6 kicks was actually the competition, and I was like,
so what was the warm-up then? Did you do any kicks in warm-up or just jogged around?
30 seconds of stretching really, and it was just, I had 4 kicks in a row then, and I actually beat all 4, and I was like, okay, here. That was my first time ever kicking in American football, and I was
wow.
It was once I got my kicks through, I was like, you know what, I can actually do this thing, and I got chatting the Tadhg after, and then we just took it from there really.
Fantastic. Okay, so
and actually just adding that, like, I turned up thinking that, you know, I've heard of a couple of Irish lads going to college through the college systems, and
that was Ross and Ronan.
Ross and Ronan, and then there's other lads like David Shanahan, I remember.
And David Shanahan, down there from Kerry.
Yeah, and there's a fella, Jude McAtamney as well.
Yeah.
So I remember I'd followed them lads and followed their journey. I was thinking, you know, maybe this was for me because I'm around a similar age to them lads, maybe a couple of years younger, and but I'd already done 4 years of uni in St Mary's in Belfast, and I'm actually doing a master this year, so I took all my eligibility away. But the NFL pathway for international players hadn't even opened at that stage. So my first time kicking it wasn't even a possible option for us to go through, you know, the NFL system or the international pathway player program. So then I got...
Yeah, and for that college thing, just so people don't know, because I'm sure, and you've had to explain this a bunch of times in terms of eligibility, the NCAA Division 1 football can be very strict in their eligibility. If you played any type of sports, any type of university beforehand, your clock starts ticking the second you begin that. So when you started in university at 17, 18, your clock starts, you have about 5 years total. Once that finishes, boom, you're done. Now there's lower colleges and divisions that have less stricter eligibility rules, but obviously coming from another country, coming from another sport, you want to be in the NCAA. So you're done for that and you're like, God, Christ, okay, what do I do now?
So basically I remember I signed up to Tadhg's newsletter for the emails, and I remember getting an email saying that the NFL had opened, you know, pathway to kickers and punters for the first time ever.
Yeah, because previously it was open to a lot of running backs. You had some wide receivers there, particularly a lot of defensive linemen, offensive linemen, and stuff like that. But it had never been available for kickers and punters.
Yeah, so this was really the first year. But like I remember reading it, and I didn't really bat much. I remember I was reading, I was like, sure, what does that mean to me? But then I remember actually got talking to Tadhg then again, and he had asked me to come to Banbridge, and I go there, and there's some of the likes of Rory Beggan and that working for them lads, for me growing up, like it was you know, they were really kind of like, you know, who you're aspiring to be in Gaelic football, like, because I just love watching place kickers in general, like even through rugby, they're national rugby players, you know, with the fly halves and the penalties and free takers from football and just any sort of place kick, and even obviously in the red zone as well. I just love studying them and you know, trying to look at them and say, well, this is their technique. Maybe go up and try and reenact it up on the pitch, or, you know, and then just taking wee snippets of that and try and bring it into your own game. Obviously, this is whenever I was growing up, like, but now, like, yeah, and it's mad even getting trained with them lads, being there in Banbridge, you know. And
but what was it like there when you kind of rocked up?
What am I doing with here with all these lads, you know? Because obviously, them lads are a bit more.
Rory's an all-star.
Yeah.
You're kind of growing up, and Rory's, you know, about 9 or 10 years older than you.
Yeah.
And he's kind of
same with
standing there kicking football.
Yeah. And I was just getting to train with them. I was like, wow, this is cool, like. And then obviously we were talking to Tadhg then, and he had mentioned that there was going to be a day we were going, if we were good enough to get selected to go to Loughborough University to train and to try and get a spot in the IPP programme. And then I got through that day, but like, yeah, it was a class day in itself. Like, just seeing getting to, you know, just go to a different country. It was my first time leaving Ireland to actually, through sport, to, you know, to
for international pathway program, right? For Kickers and Wonders. So it was your first time leaving.
Yeah.
So what did that feel like?
Yeah, it was just a cool experience. You know, we were flying where did we fly into? Just
Dublin to
East Midlands, I think it was.
East Midlands, gotcha.
And
lounge access, you know, all expenses paid, like champagne upon arrival.
Oh god, yeah, I won't go that far now, man. Yeah, it was just all. It was a really good experience in itself, and just, you know, just even getting to there and then making it through, it's like, okay.
And did you find the fact that you were traveling there just for sport and kind of that was kind of growing there, that it kind of focused you more, or how did that kind of affect your kind of thought process, or kind of like how much you were kind of into this? Do you know, because it was kind of set for you, and they're flying you especially over for this.
Yeah, it was just really like, okay, this is class. Like, you know, it was just like, again, because it was the first time I'd left Ireland to go try it, and, you know, I was just really, it was just a class experience, and it was probably just trying to get in our, but we're here for a reason. We have to really knuckle down and, you know, make sure that we put in our A game, you know, and so that's what we tried to do.
And what does it look like there then when you land? I don't know if you can walk me through that, or like, are you there specifically for a workout? Are you there specifically to interview people? Is it a bit of both?
That day it was just really, we flew over and went straight to Loughborough University, and we just got our boots on, got warmed up, kicked, and then we maybe got a bite to eat then after that, and then we flew home again. So it was quite like it was just, you're there strictly just for
very dense.
Yeah, very dense, and then you're obviously you're well looked after, and then we flew home then. So.
And you're meeting some international pathway people. Is there anybody watching you, or the guys reviewing?
Yeah, no, there was plenty of. So basically, all the ones who make the decisions on, you know, if you're going to make it through, they're there. So I remember, you know, James Cook was there. You know, all the Chris Durham and Coach Hagan as well, and he actually said something to me that really took home from that day. Was 3 words. It was invest in your future. That's just one thing I remember from Coach Hagan that day, and he said invest in your future. So that really made me step up. So, you know, like trying to, like, okay, this, I have to step up, you know, every side of aspect. So, like, in terms of your recovery, getting looked after with physios and masseuses, and buying the equipment. So I bought a couple of the NFL balls as well, and, you know, getting practicing on my own as well, and the sticks and the tees and whatnot, you know, and boots as well, and, you know, just stuff like that to really make sure that I am not leaving any stone unturned. I'm going to try my best to make sure that I ensure I get a place in the IPP.
And so, like, how would that differ now from playing GAA? You know, like, either with your club or your county, in terms of, you know, the nutrition side of things, or the sleep side of things. Were you taught like all of that in that, or was this like another level altogether?
No, to be fair, the kind of setup in football is really is quite professional now. You know, like, on top of your, you know, whether you're a full-time student or you know, a full-time job, like, you're training in the evenings maybe 5 to 6 times a week. So it is quite intense, like.
Tough schedule.
But in terms of that, I was just really thinking about, asking yourself honestly, can you step it up another level in terms of your professionalism, like yourself, and can you really, like, you know, just think about the opportunity, like, I can't let this go, you know, you really, and I really stepped up that side of, your recovery and your just a whole application towards it and thought processes towards it.
So was it kind of telling you in a way when you came back, like that phrase, which you'll probably have a tattoo on your arm in the future, probably saying it in Irish, but invest in your future. Was there something that kind of hit home about that in terms of like, I got to do this for American football, but for some reason it's a step above what I was doing in GAA? Was it just was it kind of indicating that maybe this is exactly what Charlie wants to do?
Yeah, well, I'm actually. Yeah, I just remember it just really resonated with me for some reason. I don't know why. I was like, can you really can you really, make yourself just a better version of yourself? It does nothing to do. It doesn't necessarily have to do with with football or or whatever. It can everybody can do that. So it's just really about being the best version of yourself and recognizing the opportunity that I've loved and watched the sport this past 7 or 8 years, and now there's actually an opportunity to go and do this which I never thought was possible, and really just reigniting a flame again to say, there's something here I can really go after. And I would actually go. There's actually a book I'm reading too, and it was The Mindful Athlete, and
big fan.
Yeah, one of the quotes in it was from the very start, which I had actually already started to do, was I know it might sound a bit cringy or whatever, but it says follow your bliss. So that's like really what it's that's really what you want to do. That's just like what you love doing, finding a purpose really.
What is bliss?
Yeah,
Charlie Smyth. What's your definition of bliss? Right?
Well, for my own definition of it, I've grown up from 10 years of age, and I remember my granddad said to me, he just used to love watching frees and football, just all the old free takers in the 70s and 80s one, and just kicking the ball off the ground over the bar. And for me, that was my passion in football. I would say growing up I was an okay footballer, but there was something I wanted to work on, and that was obviously pace kicking, and I spent hours and hours and hours at it. And then during my teenage years, I grew up. I picked up a love for American football then, and loved just watching the NFL, and tying them two together, place kicking and NFL, and I was just, those two are mine together now, which is basically unthinkable. But now it's actually here. So for me, that my bliss was just going after it, and the doors will open up for you then. So obviously you had an interest in the kicking and an interest in the NFL, and then met Tadhg, and then through Tadhg you're getting to go to this APP program, and then through that you're getting to go to the NFL Combine, which is just unbelievable.
Is this actually happening?
Yeah, I feel so lucky.
This one thing that I really, really wanted, that I figured out there's actually a job out there. There's only 32 of them in the world that pay well, but there's a job there that is just free taking, and that's all I have to do, and then that's just the job, and that's exactly where you want to be. And it's the NFL. And then hang on, I'm logging on Twitter, checking the scores of Sky game, soccer game, whatever. Boom, Tadhg leader pops up, opens his pathway for you to get in. Now I find it very interesting as well that your family, like your granddad, was saying, was really interested in those sort of things. So how much has that kind of impacted you in terms of your family there? Obviously I'm assuming they're a Ga heavy family, they love their Gaelic football. So has that been a big influence in you, kind of I guess growing from your childhood into your teens? Was Gaelic football always a sport for you from the family background? It really was. So I was just mentioning my granddad, he's a season ticket with actually Armagh, with our neighbouring county, is 55 years, and my dad, my dad as well, he's been a referee in football. No rivalry in that family?
Oh, there is there's a bit of cracking, I have to say. Growing up was, and then even for itself, for me growing up, actually getting to represent down was a massive honour in itself. I wasn't always a goalkeeper in football, so when I was growing up, I was an okay footballer, and I was getting on my senior team in my club, and then I actually converted to goalkeeper then, just through basically because of my place kicking abilities, and then I translated to kickouts in football.
And where were you playing before goalkeeper?
So growing up I was always sort of a defender, but then I grew then when I became a minor, and I was playing minor or midfield, when I became a minor, because I had obviously a bit of height then, and then I was playing midfield with my club.
And how tall are you, Charlie?
6'4".
6'4", okay.
Yeah, so basically through that, and then I'm converted to goalkeeper, and then just getting represented down, and again to actually say to have the crack where you're going to, oh, maybe I could play against you, who would you support, and that day, and things like that there. And then obviously my dad as well, he would have took me to a lot of games when I was younger. I've been to countless All-Ireland finals now, just through his desire, sheer desire, to get tickets, for events like that there. And just to really, I just love football growing up, and I have to say my family have been very good now, and like it's actually becoming normal now just to get like travel an hour and a half, and I share a car with my mum, so she's sacrificing that too, just to make sure I get to go to the places where I want to go, just to get the opportunity to train. So it's like they've been so supportive.
I can remember the exact same thing. I split a car with my mom when I was 18, 19, 20, 21, and I finally saved enough money to buy my own car.
Yeah.
But I used to like take her car, go to Raccoonies, play rugby in Raccooney in Cork with a bunch of half deflated rugby balls, half full rugby ball, try and pump them up, kick a bunch in the wind for a couple of hours, and then kind of drop the car back because she would need it to go back and forth. So I totally relate to that of the struggles of a young Irish athlete in Ireland, try to get your training in. All right, so in terms of then kind of your education, obviously, another Irish family trait is they always tell you to get your studies done, get everything done. So you're kind of at a bit of a crossroads now, I think, in terms of that, or maybe not even a crossroads, but obviously this pathway is open. It's open at a perfect time. You're kind of the first crop going through. As we said, you've been invited to Indianapolis, to the NFL Combine. Chances of someone beginning to play football in the US, we'll just go to the US, chance of someone making the NFL Combine is about 0.0002% or something like that to make it to the NFL Combine if you're born in the US. If you're born in Ireland, previously it was infinity. It was zero. There is no chance. There is no spoon. Zero. Now you're there, but you also were in the middle of a Masters.
Yeah. So actually, I was spending the last 4 years in St Mary's in Belfast, and actually a qualified primary school teacher.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and then I've been through. It's just a perfect timing for the whole thing with the side of the kicking side of things too, because I don't have a permanent job there. As a teacher, I did and I wasn't, and because I was doing the masters too, so I have plenty of flexibility at the minute. So,
what were you doing your masters in? Sorry.
PE and sport for young people. Perfect. So it's actually there's actually a psychology module in it too, and
lots of active learning through that as well, right? And lots of kind of training right and left sides.
More so at the minute where we've done 3 modules, and we're looking at the social side of sport. We've looked at just sport in general, and
social side of sports obviously very heavy in the GAA.
Yeah.
Obviously you come from a big community background there as well, right?
Yeah. So and they've been so supportive. And then there's a psychology module as well, which actually learning a lot of the masters is actually helping your own side. I know it says it's for young people, but I've taken a lot of tips in it to actually have influenced my own sport. So again, I've been St Mary's, they've been very supportive, and
do you have any examples of that? Something that's stuck in your head, other than invest in your future, but any little psychological tricks that you can teach a 5-year-old and you can teach a 20-year-old?
Well, one thing I've maybe got away from this past couple of years, past 2 years probably in particular, was listen to yourself before you listen to anybody else, in terms of people maybe trying to make a few twigs and how you kick a ball or whatever, but it's no, you're the one that spent the hours and hours practicing. So I would just that's the one thing I would maybe take is trust yourself before you trust anybody else, and don't let anybody else change you if you don't want them, things like that there. And that's one thing I've taken from that.
And that's so prevalent in kicking as well. I've come across, I don't know how many kicking coaches. So I've basically seen them all. There's a couple of big kicking coaches in the US. I've more or less seen them all. I've stuck with one, John Carney, 5th highest point scorer of all time. Played the Saints, played the Giants, played at Tampa Bay, played the Jags, played the Chiefs. I could go on, but I'm not. But also his family from Cork and Leitrim, which makes it interesting to us. He always says, it's not that, you got to kick my way or the highway, which a lot of coaches are.
Yeah.
They're everyone has their own style, and you kind of mould yourself around them. You mould an athlete. If you're a coach, you mould an athlete around their own style first.
Yeah.
And then obviously, make little tweaks rather than changing a whole technique.
Yeah.
And I know I practiced changing techniques. Tadhg tried it a bunch. I know Tadhg, before his first ever kind of opportunity with NFL teams that me and him went to, he tried to change his technique a month beforehand.
Yeah.
Because the coach told him to.
Yeah.
And then he had to change it away. So obviously coming from a GA background, what's that been like? Did you find it kind of very similar to kicking an NFL ball from the ground, or as opposed to a GA ball?
I would definitely say that a lot of the time in football, you can change your technique in terms of. Sometimes I would like to adapt to the way the wind's going. So if the wind's blowing right to left, I would like to put more curl on it because the ball travels further when it goes, when it's going right to left. Or if there's maybe a left to right wind, you're maybe hitting it a bit straighter. Mm-hmm. So, and with American football, you have to hit it straight, or else
there is no curl.
Yeah, you can't really work your magic that way. So it's just really about finding the sweet spot of the ball and making sure you're hitting it nice and straight every time, which again we're very used to, especially in goalkeepers too. When kickouts, a lot of the time you're just hitting it straight. You're trying to get the ball as fast as possible. So yeah,
so you're more driving the ball.
Yeah, well, if you're trying to pick your man out,
yep.
Or if you're but obviously in American football too, I find that I've followed through more with my kick in terms of a lot of time in football maybe you're stabbing at the ball, but now because you're trying to
which
keep it low,
causes you to drive it.
Yeah, but now in American football. You have to try and get the right elevation in your kick and make sure that the ball is a nice wide spiral when it's going through the posts and so that's but to be honest, because you're practicing your kicking for so long, whenever you try new things in your kicks, you're like it's not that much of a change, like because you're just it's not like completely foreign to you anyways, so for me whenever I, as I said, I turned up late this session, but hit my first 4 kicks, and I remember thinking, okay, I think I can do this,
Well, I think that kind of speaks to your mindset. Like you seem kind of so sure of yourself, and kind of like you're very humble. Like you're very humble. You got a lot of humility in yourself. Yeah. But like a confidence that now I've done this before. Yeah. Now, do you think it might have helped that you did show up late and you had a 30-second warm up and you actually didn't have a chance to get in your own way?
Yeah. Well.
Which is a big trait of psychology, right? Kind of get out of your own way.
Yeah, but
that's I think he talked about a lot in Mindful Athlete as well, right?
Yeah, but that's something probably this year, I've just really the past couple of months and getting a confidence again in yourself, because probably this past couple of years, and maybe we lost out a wee bit, and I was just saying, maybe you were letting other people affect what you're doing, and I am just like, no, I am the reason that you're in this position is because you spent the hours up the local pitch, and so again, I know it might sound maybe that you're fully confident in yourself, but I am so a wee bit more now than I have been. But well,
I know on the sideline in the middle of a game, we're all shitting it before the kick. It all gets a bit nervy, and I'm sure you've had big moments as well. With down, is there like a massive moment you can think where you've had to kind of steady yourself? It's a big free kick or whatever it is. Do you kind of remember that one moment where you took control of yourself? In the sense you invested in your future, and then off you went and
I remember there was in the under-20 final in the Ulster under-20 final, and it was an extra time, and it was against
Ulster U-20 final. So what year was this?
2021.
2021.
And I had a kick against Monaghan, and I was I think it was 3 up, and I basically, it was just a big moment for me, anyways. An extra time of an Ulster final, and I remember thinking,
it's much bigger than that, though. I mean,
for young, for being, for the age it was, it doesn't get much bigger than that, and I just remember thinking, I'm going to get this, like, and I remember executing, and I was like, you just remember feeling, like you're just glad that you own the moment, and you just made sure that you got the ball over the bar, and then there's a couple of other moments as well. I remember there's some years this year we played UCC, and it was the last. It should have been.
That's my alma mater. Yeah, as the people in the States say.
Yeah,
UCC.
Is that where you went?
Yeah.
So it was a shame, but it was the last kick. It should have been the last kick of the game, and it was 1-9 apiece or something. I remember I hit one there, and we thought it was over. And I was like, I remember thinking to myself, this is the last kick of the game. You can win this. You can win this for your college. And
how far out are you?
It was 45. It was 45. So basically, like what you practice all the time.
Yeah.
And I remember I got it, thinking that was over, and then obviously the ref he allowed another play to go, and I went to penalties in, and we weren't victorious in that time, but I'm sure that's the way it goes.
UCC are very hard to beat. In general, people from Cork are top quality athletes and just very hard to beat. So just. No.
Yeah, he's going on to win it then, so it's stung this year, and I hope so.
Well, at least you lost against the champions, I guess. There's a little bit of solace in that,
Yeah.
And then I guess, so I want to talk to you a little bit as well about, you were telling us you watched a lot of Red Zone as a kid. You watched a lot of football. You kind of have that NFL background already.
Yeah.
You kind of got youth on your side. You know, this international pathway program is open, so there's a lot of doors there. So your favorite team is the Packers.
Yeah.
So was that kind of always something you were kind of engaged in? What age did that start with? Did that also come from your granddad? Like, I don't know.
No, it really, a couple of mates at home, they had started watching it, and it was around it. They had started watching it maybe a year or two before I had, and I remember the first game I'd watched was the Packers Cowboys in the 2016 divisional round.
Oh yeah.
And I remember Rodgers rolled out left and he threw it down the line to Cook, and I remember Crosby came on and kicked the 51-yard field goal line to win it, and from then on that was my team, like, and
51 is actually about the same as 45, what you made.
Yeah.
You know,
He actually made a 56-yarder before it too, so like they're
not a bad kicker though, Mason Crosby.
Yeah, it's 16, 17 years with the Packers, so yeah, he had a brilliant career. Well, I know he's still playing with the Giants actually too, but
yeah, I think he got injured actually. But yeah. But anyway, so it starts off there. You with your friends, so you watching the Packers in like every Sunday. Or was that where it began? You saw him smash that 51-yarder, and you're like,
yeah. Well, for me, it was always Aaron Rodgers. Was me like he was probably your favorite player basically, and then just watching them basically every Sunday, and the first few late nights I suppose watching them too. But so from there on, that just really grew because you had the team. You had a reason to watch it every week, and then you started watching other teams and watching Red Zone then, and then watching all the kickers, and you're just thinking, I think I could do it, but like it was never really, as I said, it was never really a possibility at home.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of seems like perfect timing.
Yeah.
And kind of on top of that, which is very exciting for Ireland in general and all athletes, including you guys, even more so your guys, because I think he's brought so much positive press, like the right type of press we want towards this, and that's of course Daniel Whelan, originally from Wicklow, moved to the States when he was about 14, and now he's playing, his first season. His first season is just about to end with the Green Bay Packers as a punter. So what's it been like, kind of, being like, oh, hey, yeah, that'd be a nice dream, but yeah, virtually impossible, whatever. Oh, IPP, what's that? Oh, Dan Whelan got signed with the Green Bay Packers. Yeah. Oh, I could kick for him, he could hold.
that would be a bit mad, wouldn't it? Yeah, just watching him, he's had a career season now. I think he's one of the highest averages in yardage and hang time in the NFL. Like, so fair play to him, like as him being a rookie too. So that'll be class. Like just imagine just the Irish just coming over and making their way in college football and in the NFL. It would be unbelievable. Like, yeah,
I mean, I don't think there's anything to stop us at this point. I mean, Daniel kind of. He gives the essence of what all you guys are talking about on Enter the Arena on this podcast. Is you're sort of like, you're very dedicated to the craft. You kind of want to be better. Like Daniel himself, punts a lot, and he's had a full season with the XFL as well. But on top of that, he holds like 150 to 200 times a session. So he puts a ton of effort into that. So would you like to someday, be kicking with Daniel Holding?
Oh, it would be unbelievable, wouldn't it?
Somewhere in Green Bay.
Yeah. Well, it would be class, but like even just to get the opportunity to kick anywhere would be unbelievable, and again, who knows what can happen in the future, but it's just really about grasping this opportunity, making the most of it, and if it takes you there, then unbelievable. And
so what has your training so far been like? Can you walk through some of the maybe is there anything been really challenging that you've kind of hard to transition to that maybe Tadhg has helped you? Because obviously there's the differences between kicking an NFL ball and kicking Gaelic football. One main thing is timing. You don't have as much time as you want, which you don't have forever.
1.3 seconds.
Yeah, you don't have forever on a gaff field, but when you come to an NFL field, there's a shot clock first of all. But once you nod to the holder and that snap ball comes. Yeah,
so just basically when you start out, the first thing that I probably found challenging was, for me, I like to do maybe 2 or 3 steps, just wee small steps for a kick.
Do you go like 3 back, 2 over? Do you just go sideways?
So 3 back and then in line with your target. And if it's no wind, then it's just nice. Target nice in the centre. If maybe there's a right to left wind, then obviously you're aiming more right. But if there's left to right wind, then obviously your target line. So basically you're 3 steps back from your target line, then 2 to the left, and then just go from there. But for me, the most challenging thing at the start, just basically when the very start, was allowing your left foot to go first. I was always
a little jab.
Yeah, so I was always maybe at I was doing like when I first started kicking the football, I was 5 steps before I kick, but now just through practice, it's just natural now to left foot go first and then obviously you kick. But now again, with we're working on it is it's different when the ball's not actually there before you kick. That's something that we're getting used to. And
so just explain that a little bit. So how you'd usually practice is probably with sticks.
Yeah, which is
a tee almost.
Yeah. So just sticks that holds the ball up. But now through live reps, when I first started out, you're looking at the snap and you're looking at the hold, and that's like you don't do that like but
it takes your eyes off the spot.
Yeah, it takes your eyes off and just disorientates you. And now it's obviously the ball. You have you look at the snapper the holder, and he lifts his left hand, and you allow yourself to go then. But like you obviously it's a lot different that way. The ball's not actually there before you kick. But
a lot of people don't realise that because every other sport in the world, there's 2 sports in the world that allow you to kick from the ground up and between posts, and that's Gaelic football and the NFL, American football, or also CFL.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, I think it's probably the only sport in the world where the ball actually isn't there when you begin.
I know that's
other than maybe kickball, but I don't know if that counts as a sport. Maybe counts as a sport. We'll see. But yeah, the ball actually isn't there, so a lot of people don't really realise how hard it is to step and approach at something that's not there, and you're hoping that the ball will get there when you.
Yeah, see, it's obviously you can't underestimate the job of the long snapper or the holder. Like their job's just as important.
Yeah, so you're kind of reliant on those two just as much as they are on you.
No, because if they give you a ball, for example, and they're pointing the laces towards you, or I like to just have a nice sort of straight up ball, just ever so slightly leaning to the right. But if they give you a ball leaning to the left, then the ball's just going to deviate, and you're not going to find your sweet spot, and it's just going to go wide left then. So like their job, and they have milliseconds to do that, so they have to catch the ball and have to spin the laces towards it and get the right line. So like their job is massively underestimated. I don't think people realise that. And then the long snapper too, where if they snap the ball way high and the other team gets it, there's a touchdown the other way. So like the jobs of theirs is equally as important as ours. So
yeah, and to remind people, Daniel Whelan is a holder. This is why he gets 115, 200 reps a day, because it is such an important job. And it's when you don't notice the holder is usually when they're doing an amazing job. They're perfect. And actually just a few weeks ago, Lucas Haversick with the LA Rams was taking a kick, and it was the same thing. He got a high snap, holder got a high snap into his helmet, holder put it down, tilted it left instead of right. So obviously, hooked the ball.
Ball goes left.
Yeah, and pulled it left. So these are nuances that obviously you've had to get into, which, a lot of those wouldn't really apply to GA because we're dealing with a circular ball, first of all. The ball stays there and you've lots of time to approach it. These are things, I guess, that Tadhg has really helped you adjust to on those NFL metrics,
Yeah, so again, obviously just through repetition and through Tadhg's coaching and help, we're constantly improving on it, and I know we can keep improving on it, but again, just through constant reps, I feel like we're making good progress on that side of things. So
well, I'm not going to talk about March. I'm not going to talk about Indianapolis. I know you're going to do great there. I don't want to do anything to jinx it. I got a lot of preparation to do. You're heading to Florida, right?
Yeah.
To go training for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then it's go time in Indianapolis.
Yeah. So we're actually going to Boston this week too. Just for get a good week's training, and constantly just kicking every day, and obviously that's class. And getting to go to this will be my first time leaving Europe, so getting to go to the States, which is something I've wanted to do this past couple of years, but I've always put it off for football and things like that. But now we're actually getting to go, just getting to go to America to get to train with America is just class. And and then obviously we're going to Florida. Then we're going to ING Academy, which is like the facilities in that place. Or I don't know if you've seen it, but
I've seen it, and friends who trained there and kicked there. I have not been there myself. I'm not lucky enough to be in the leader kicking sphere, the pathway that he has opened up. But you guys are, and frankly, I'm envious and I'm jealous.
Yeah, and I just feel so lucky that it's happened at the right age, where you're just finished uni, you're doing a master's, and you're doing a bit of work, but the hours that I'm very flexible at the minute. So
you put off your masters for an extra year, right?
No, I'm actually still doing it at the minute.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah. So and then obviously because you're not.
I forget sometimes, Charlie, you're doing so much, like you're training, you're playing GA, you're playing football, and then you're doing masters, and you're flying off to Boston.
Yeah.
Hard to keep track.
It's class, and and then getting the trainer is just for a couple of weeks, obviously, and it'll be really, really good preparation for us, in terms of, going to the combine then, and, and it's just unreal. Can't wait to go, like.
Amazing. Yeah. Your excitement is palpable. I think I'm getting kind of a bit excited. I know, a couple of coffees, but I'm getting a bit jittery. It's 2026. You put this in your head. You can close your eyes if you want. It's 2026. Okay? You're playing for the Green Bay Packers. You're playing against San Francisco 49ers in Santa Clara in the Super Bowl. It's 6:15 p.m. The national anthem of the United States is playing. You've got an Irish flag in the back of your helmet. Yeah. You're in the dressing room about to come out. You've won the toss. You're kicking off.
Yeah.
Daniel's next to you, Daniel Whelan. How are you feeling?
Feeling like, wow, this is unbelievable. But again, it's just all about whenever you're actually kicking off, it's just about lock in and having your processes and making sure that your mental side of things is the same, and you have your processes that block out all the distractions, and you're kicking in front of 70, 80,000 people here, and
there will be 350 watching on TV.
Yeah, and millions watching it on TV, and it's just all about it's just like kicking here in Mayo Ridge pitch. This is it. It's just like kicking with Tadhg down in Sport Ireland in Dublin. It's just all about that's class. But now you're here to kick, so that's your job. So you just have to make sure that you're completely locked in and ready to go. But thinking about it from that point of view, it's just wow, unreal.
Well, you said to me, it's the same as just kicking up on the pitch. Yeah. Wet Tuesday afternoon. Yeah. It's all the same.
Thinking about it now, but then when you're in that moment, it's just all about, let's go here.
Exactly. Charlie?
Thank you very much, Conor.
Infectious. Your excitement and your personality is infectious. Wish you the absolute best. I'm not even worried about you, to be honest. I think that actually might come true. You did hear it here for 2026, Santa Clara. Just keep your eyes peeled, maybe put a little bet, but don't do that, bet responsibly, get responsibly. It's been an absolute pleasure, Charlie. Thank you for coming on Enter the Arena, presented by Leader Kicking Podcast, and I have full faith in you, and I wish you the best in the future.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, great to be here. Thank you.